Welcome to Old Classic Car, and here we've got part 8 of original photos of British cars in the 1950s and the 1960s. And to begin with, NHU 226, which is a lovely old comma, superpoised lorry, a flatbed lorry. That's a Bristol registration, and I suspect that's probably Bristol Cathedral in the background. Also in the background is a very early Fordson 1000 weight van. You can tell it's an early one because it's just got a single starter handle hole on the grille, and to the right a Morris 8 Series 1 there. Next up, HMW 242. This is a Humber Hawk, circa 1951 or 1952. Hedging his bets there, AA and RAC membership badges on the front. A nice colour slide here now, RKB 923. This is a Series 2, Morris Minor convertible, 1954. It appears to have been resprayed as extra paint around the quarter light on the front bumper, and it appears to have a van or pickup bonnet with no side strip on it. Carrying on these wonderful photos, here's one supplied by Roger. In the foreground is a fantastic old Austin A40 pickup truck being used to tow home a pre-war Daimler. The Daimler, I think that belonged to his father's cousin. Roger's father's cousin owned that particular Daimler, but where is it now? I think it's a 15 by the look of it. Another great colour photo here, thanks to Roger for this one. 9269 UK is, of course, a Hillman Super Minx. And this is a factory photograph, a Nuffield factory photograph of a Morris Oxford MO, a very early pre-production car. This was. There are various differences on the bonnet. You can tell it's an early one because the bonnet corners curve down as they meet the top of the grille, and that was changed not long into production. Thanks to Peter for this one. This is a photo of him and his dad with a Fergie tractor that they bought new in 1957, and Peter still owns that exact same tractor. In fact, he's recently repainted it. Lovely photo here from Tony. He's sent over many photos that are featured in these videos. VBM 350 is a Lotus Elite from 1958, and it was seen here in 1966. What a lovely little car that is as well. Talking of Lotus Elite, also from Tony is this photo of ATU 99F. This is a car he built up from a kit at his home in Lymm in Cheshire. That's a 1967 registered car. What a beauty that is. Thanks to everyone who has sent over photos, by the way, to feature in these particular videos. One from my own files now, YMB219. That's a Morris Minor 1000, circa 1956 or 57, Cheshire registered, but seen here outside a small petrol filling station in France somewhere. Some lovely old petrol pumps there, Shell, Super Shell, etc, etc. Really nice old photograph. Another one of my old photos here of a race-prepared AC Cobra. But does anyone know any more about this particular car? I've got a few clues on the front wing there. Hill Garage, RDS Engineering down in Bedfordshire. But does anyone know more about this car? There's a winner's garland on the bonnet, so presumably it was quite a successful race car. Somewhat more pedestrian is this fantastic old Hillman Minx. This was taken from an old colour slide sometime in the late 50s, early 1960s. Thanks to Brian for this snapshot, DOS 941, that's 100E, and there's his wife. This was taken on the Isle of Skye in 1960 on their honeymoon. A couple of extra Lucas lamps on the front of this particular Ford. I do like these old photographs. There's a side view of the same car, two-door Popular, old RAF, ex-RAF case there on the floor, I think. But it's great to see these photographs, colour or black and white. I just love them all, especially when there's a bit of a backstory to them as well. And there's Brian with the same Ford 100E, this time a black and white photograph. Great old shot. Carrying on with these photos of British cars in the 50s and the 1960s. We've got this little entry here, which is a rear view of 8172RW. This was a Jaguar-owned Mark 10, a 3.8 car, of course. This was featured in various road tests back in the day, so it was and it's seen here being loaded into a car train. Perhaps that mill in the background will give a few clues as to the exact location, but assuming it's sort of in the Midlands somewhere. Thanks to Tony for this next photo, OLG 396D, a Vauxhall VX490, dating to 1966. Quite unusual wheel trims on this one. I don't think I've ever seen those before. Were they standard fit on the VX490? Maybe some Vauxhall experts watching this will know for sure. Let me know in the comments. One of Brian's photos here, and a side-on view of a Singer Vogue. These were based, of course, on the Hillman Super Minx, which we've seen already, and the location for this one is outside Bryce Norton Air Base in 1967. You can see the camouflaged hangars in the background there. Here's a sleek looking machine, PPK2, thanks to Barry for this one. It's a Bristol 401, there's his girlfriend, now wife, sat inside the car. Where this car is now, I don't know. The registration is on a 2015 Mitsubishi of all things, but does the Bristol survive? A few of the classics in the background as well, Bedford CA and a Mini. Another of Brian's photos here, of great colour shot of a four-door Ford Corsair. This was in Rhodesia. There's another view of the same classic Ford. Next up, a period photograph outside a BMC facility, the British Motor Corporation, Nuffield Group. Is this Cowley or Longbridge? I'm not really sure. Variety of cars there. We've got an A95 Westminster. There's a Standard 8, a Frog Eye Sprite, a Ford 300e van, a Thames 300e, and a Morris Minor in the background there. Another Brian's photos now, this time with a Triumph Herald in view. This was in the early 1960s. Thanks to Cyril for this particular photograph. Back to Morris Oxford MOs briefly. This is a later one with a slightly different grille and the squared off front bonnet corners. 1077H. This was on a camping trip down at Great Yarmouth in 1965. Thanks to Cyril for that one. Always appreciate these contributions. And again from Cyril, another one. A classic BMC car this time, an Austin A40 Farina Mark 1 461 XVX. More classic photos and a lovely colour shot here of an F registration Morris Mini Minor, no less. Very smart indeed. It's a deluxe with the overriders and the little wheel trims. One of those long whippy aerials on the front wing there. What a great colour view that is. Thanks to Cyril again for this one now. And this is outside the old Larne post office. We've got a standard there, standard 8 with the non-opening boot. You've just got the little hatch for the spare wheel there. Have a look at the videos I've uploaded on my own standard 8 now if you've got a bit of time. In front of that is a Morris Minor 1000. Here's a great old photo from the Monte Carlo 1966 rally. And the car was a Mini Minor 850 automatic driven by Jay Lowry and M. Mackenzie. Mr. Lowry was the former technical editor of The Motor magazine, no less. Great photo from Tony here now of a very early Triumph Spitfire, brand new car. This was in August 1962 and the location was North Wales. These early Spitfires were called the Spitfire 4 and the later one was the Spitfire 4 Mark II, and then these were retrospectively known as the Mark I. Another of Tony's great old photos here. We've got STB 999 Triumph TR2 photographed with shortly after receiving a brand new engine, or newly reconditioned engine at any rate. Thanks to David Clark for this photo now. That's David Clark's father in shot here. The car in the background is a Ford Zodiac Mark III, which I believe belonged to a family member, so thanks to David for sending that one over. Great shot. Oh dear, another one from my own files here. It would appear that an Austin A35 has had a slight altercation with a Bedford lorry, FJN 627. Not quite sure of the location, but the photo appears to be taken out of the rear window of a double-decker bus. Great shot, a couple of ladies there chattering away in the background, wondering what all the commotion is, no doubt. Now, I think the location for this photograph is the Vauxhall Works down in Luton. We seem to have a variety of Vauxhalls there of differing ages, all sorts of things, various Victors and so on, FP Victors. There's an FP Victor estate, a later FD I can see there. Way over in the background there's an HA van and so on. Oh dear. Next up, a Ford Consul 375, which registration is 323CYK. That's a London series, circa 1961. But I wonder what happened here. Maybe he was avoiding the ducks in the distance there on the road, who knows, but looks a little unfortunate. Great old photo now of a Jersey registered Austin A40 Devon. It's quite an early one with these smaller headlamps. Nice little car, no quarter lights in the front door either. My 49 did have window quarter lights and the largest 7-inch Lucas lamp, so this one is quite an early car. Another lovely old colour slide here. I'm not quite sure of the location. I did think Beaumaris in Anglesey perhaps, but if anyone recognises this particular scene, let me know. Got an Anglia there on the right, a red one. Got a standard 10 just behind the two ladies, and a Morris Minor Traveller. Various sailing boats in the background as well, so quite a bit going on. Now, thanks to Paul over in Australia for several Jaguar photographs that he kindly sent over. This is XAR 469, a lovely old Mark 7M automatic. This was Claremont in Western Australia, the location of this photo. Now, one of several photos that appear in a separate video on the channel. It's been out for a while now. This was a road traffic survey that was undertaken in September 1954. I've just included a few scans of the old photographs in this particular video. There's a nice Mark 1 Zodiac on the left there, and an Allard of all things parked on the right. Back to Paul's photos now of his Jaguars. Now I've got a Mark 1 Saloon, as they are retrospectively known, a 3.4 litre car from 1959. Love the shape of these, because it went on to become the Mark II. The Mark I had much thicker screen surround, screen pillars, etc. Slightly different front end. And here a standard 10. Looks like a brand new saloon just being delivered, complete with tray plates on the front there. Really nice little car. Opening boot lid no less. Something my 56 standard 8 doesn't have, unfortunately, but it could be worse. It's not too bad, the access getting in through the back seats. Now a 1966 Ford Anglia appears to be traversing a very rutted path, but I'm not quite sure where they're off to. There's various other wheel tracks in the mud in evidence, so clearly a few cars went up and down this particular route, but where this was, I have no idea, unfortunately. Back to Paul again, and here he is with another of his lovely old Jaguars. This is a very, very late British Racing Green Mark 1, 3.4 litre car. You could get the 2.4 or, as in this case, the 3.4, both straight 6 XK engines. And there's another photo of the same car. This was such a late car. There's various Mark II features are starting to appear, including those rear lamps. Apparently also an electronic tacho, a rev counter, which is more of a Mark II thing, but some of the very late Mark Is have these gizmos apparently, according to Paul. So thanks very much for sending those over. MHT 354, that's Austin K2 lorry. This is Bristol registered, circa 1949 or 1950. There appears to be a spot of water in the background there and a bridge, so could be in the Bristol area perhaps. I love the old truck that is. Thanks to Melvin for this photo, one of several photos he kindly sent over. Here we've got a 1967 Austin A40 Farina Mark II. It's a saloon version with just the opening boot, and you can see one of those little panels stuck on the rear window, the demister panel. Another photograph of the same car, this time with a very period looking roof rack on the top. There's Melvin stood with the car, and there's a reflection of someone else just in the windscreen there. Another of Melvin's shots here. We've got a scene in suburbia. We've got a metallic blue MGB Roadster with the previously mentioned A40 just visible there in the foreground. Once again, thanks so much for sending these old photos over to include in these videos. I know a lot of people love looking at these old photos just like I do. Thanks again to Melvin for this one. This is an A30 van, Austin A30 with extra windows in the back. And that's his grandfather looking at his father's van. So the van belonged to Melvin's father, and that's Melvin's granddad peering under the bonnet to see what might be amiss. You can just about see the roof vent, so that shows that it is a van. Back to those street scenes in London, 1954. September 54, we've got another photo here. There's a Ford 500 weight van just parked up on the left there. Various other classic vehicles just visible in the distance, but so many fashions and signs and so many interesting things going on there. It's always well worth just pausing the photos and having a closer look at them. Here, a Mark II Ford Cortina on a G registration, so late 1960s, and a very small boat that it's been towing. Great scene. Nice to see a colour one as well. Period boat trailer rather, just in evidence on the right there. Oh dear, one of my old photos here from my old files. This appears to have been taken in a scrapyard somewhere. We've got a badly mangled Ford Consul Mark II, and on the right hand side what appears to be the remains of a Bond mini car, I think, or is it a Reliant? Another BMC photo. This was at an official service facility in what appears to be a brand new Morris Minor Traveller up on the ramp there. It looks so clean under the wheel arches there. I'm guessing this is some sort of pre-delivery inspection going on, maybe a greasing up session. It does look to be in immaculate condition. And this is an old press photograph, quite a rare car. This is a left-hand drive Elva Courier Mark IV. These were built by Trojan, better known for some of their vans perhaps, down in Croydon, Surrey. Quite a rare machine indeed, unregistered at the time of this photo being taken. You don't see these too often now. Back to Barry's photos, and a great old picture here, nice old colour picture of Barry's father-in-law's standard Ensign saloon, based on the Phase 3 Vanguard of course, but the Ensign was the entry-level car if you like. Back to London, 1954, we've got a few more gems in evidence here. On the left hand side there's a Phase 2 standard Vanguard, the one with the proper boot lid as opposed to the Beetleback of the Phase 1. Various other cars there of the 1950s and earlier in evidence. There's an E-Series Vauxhall a bit further down and another one on the right hand side. Back to the colours slides, we've got a 1966 Morris 1100 here. Don't know where this was taken unfortunately. It appears to be an A35 van alongside, complete with a radio aerial on the roof. Let me know in the comments what you think of these old photos. We've got a rallying scene now of a very early Mark I Mini. Not sure if this is a Mini Cooper or just a standard Mini, but clearly prepared with rallying in mind. Andrew sent me over this photo quite a while ago to feature on Old Classic Car, and there's a head-on view of a stunning little three-wheel Reliant WUG 529 and an equally tasty looking recovery vehicle on the right hand side at the back there. You can just see the back end of a Ford 100E there as well on the right. Cheers to Barry now for this Morris Oxford. This is a bit later than the MO. This one was supplied new to Lagos in Nigeria in 1953, and it eventually came back to this country and Barry learnt to drive and passed his test in this particular car. So it's obviously got very fond memories of this one. One of Barry's photos, the first of several that feature a lovely TR4. This was the first car that he owned after getting married. That's a Manchester registered Triumph TR4, so circa January 1963 onwards that particular series ran for. Very much a 1960s scene there. Two colour photos now of the same car. Two-tone paint scheme, quite unusual, but made it very distinctive, and the dashboard painted to match the gold accents on the main body. Wire wheels, boot rack, etc, etc. Now which way around do you fit a boot rack? That way around it stops things sliding off onto the floor. I also have been told that you should have it the other way around, so if you brake hard it doesn't sort of come in through the back window of the soft tops, so I'm not quite sure. But yeah, lovely car. Great to see these photos colour or black and white, so cheers to Barry for those. Just a few more photos to go now. And following that Triumph, we've got a, presumably perhaps a marriage scene there. There's a big old Humber Super Snipe in the background, a big old side valve powered car of the early 1950s, magnificent car, complete with town and country tyres on the back. And in the background is a two-tone grey Morris Isis, which was the upmarket six-cylinder version of the Morris Oxford. And to round things off, two photos now, not actually of a British car, but a British-based car. This is the Holden HB Tirana. These were built from 67 to 69 and were based really on the Vauxhall Viva HB. We've got a side-on view here of one of such Holden, the Beetle in the background, and another view of the same car. Some very interesting side stripes and evidence on that particular VW Beetle. And you can see the front end of the Holden HB, how it differs to the Vauxhall Viva HB that we had here in the UK. And that old photo rounds out this 8th collection of original photos of British cars in the 1950s and the 1960s. I hope that was of interest. Please let me know in the comments which of these cars you have fond memories of, and if you can help out with any more scans of photographs like these taken in the 1950s or 1960s, maybe early 1970s, please let me know. You can always drop me a line via the main Old Classic Car website. Thank you very much for watching. More videos along very soon, so bye for now.